One of my viewers, Artie Carnes, shared this in the comment section. We have a longshoremen strike looming. Their contract is up September 30th. It will impact ports on the East Coast and Gulf of Mexico. Hey there everyone, I hope you're doing well. It's Tanya and I'm back with another video. September is National Preparedness Month in the United States. So I wanted to talk to you today again about the issue of preparedness. Are you prepared? Specifically, do you have the supplies that you need for the upcoming season? Before I get started, I want to ask you to make sure to like this video, give it a thumbs up, and make sure to comment below if you find it interesting or if there's anything that you want to share. That really helps me get my video moving across YouTube, and it also helps to get people to hear and know this information that is vital for them. So please go ahead and like and comment. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. I know that I talk about challenging situations and needing to prepare quite a bit, but it's because it's something that's very important to me. And I think that we are heading into a very challenging season and that we really need to pay attention and be aware of what's going on around us and be prepared so that we're not caught off guard and so that we're not caught in hard times when those challenges hit. Some examples of things that we need to pay attention to globally are the political unrest and wars that are happening around the world, specifically in the Middle East and in Russia and Ukraine. I think that those two conflict zones are very pivotal and that they are having an impact globally. They're impacting us all. If you didn't know, Ukraine is like a breadbox for global grain production. That's been impacted. There are a lot of fertilizers that come out of that part of Europe that it's getting harder to get because of the war. And the divided U.S. government, with some members of Congress saying that we need to not be involved at all, and others saying that it's imperative that we do help Ukraine in this war. In the Middle East, you have a war expanding between Israel and first Hamas and now Hezbollah, which is in the area of Lebanon. And of course, that's kind of a proxy war with Iran. So there's a really tense, volatile situation that's happening and increasing in that region. Both of those war zones demand American attention because we send supplies and resources to at least one side in each conflict. We have a vested interest, either politically or economically, whether we like that or not, in each of those conflicts. And so what happens there does impact us, maybe not directly, maybe we're not the ones fighting, but it impacts the economy, it impacts financial realities around the world. So the area of global instability is something that we really need to pay attention to. It is having an impact, and I believe that it's going to have a much larger impact in the coming months. The upcoming election in the United States is another reason that I think we need to be concerned and be paying attention. There is the likely reality that there will be instability regardless of who's elected. There's a lot of volatility right now. There are a lot of feelings on each side, and unfortunately, we can expect those feelings to overflow into unrest, depending on which side sees victory and which side does not. I think that it's really pivotal to pay attention right now as we lead up to the election. We only have maybe 26 days left. It's really key that we pay attention, that we go ahead and try to vote early if we can, that we avoid kind of being out in the scene on election day, and that we pay attention really closely between election day and January 6th. My guess is that that period of time is going to be a time fraught with confusion, with a lot of discussion and debate and arguing and court battles over the results of the election. We can almost guarantee that whatever the results are, they're probably not going to be accepted. And we're still getting used to that kind of reality. We have not had that happen before in such a major way as it did in 2020. And we can expect it to happen again. There are already people in position, and the stage is being set for a contestation of the election if certain sides don't get the results that they want. Because of that, I think it's really important for us to be prepared. If you can avoid having to be in crowds in large spaces, going out a lot, please just pay attention. This is not an area that I want people to be in panic or afraid, but I think it's very important to be realistic and to be prepared. And you do that by getting things now so that if there is unrest, If there is political instability going on and resources and things become scarce, you have what you need already. You don't have to go out into the fray. You're not having to rely upon others to provide for what you need in the case there is some kind of catastrophic disaster or event. One of my viewers, Artie Carnes, shared this in the comment section. We have a longshoremen strike looming. Their contract is up September 30th. It will impact ports on the East Coast and Gulf of Mexico. Almost all of our bananas come in at Delaware. Thank you so much, Artie Carnes. And I want to make the point that bananas may not seem like a big deal to you, but bananas aren't the only things coming into our ports. We import a huge amount of our food in the United States. And if there is a longshoremen strike, can you imagine how disruptive that would be to you accessing the foods that you use every day? But imagine not having those things in the grocery store. Suddenly, fruits and vegetables becoming inaccessible because they're imported and we can't get them because there's a strike. Imagine a trucker strike. Truckers bringing those items to different places around the country. I'm not saying that there's a trucker strike on the horizon. I'm just saying, think about the impact that something like that would have. But we know there's a longshoremen strike coming, and that's actually probably going to be coming on the day before you even see this video. Hopefully it can be averted, but these are the kinds of things that I want us to pay attention to because I think we're going to be seeing them happening more consistently in the coming months. So I'm going to give you a list of 10 items that I think will serve you well in the next months and that I think you should have on hand. If you don't already, go ahead and take the time to get those set up for yourself now so that you have them in the event of an emergency in the upcoming months. The first item is food. I've talked about food preps in previous videos and I'll talk about it again today. I think that it's important to store canned foods if you can. If you can can them yourself, that's excellent. If not, go to the store and buy canned items that are high in protein like chili, meats, tuna, beans. You can also buy canned vegetables and you can can foods on your own. Something as simple as buying a bag of beans will provide you with a huge amount of protein, and that's what you want to have on hand in emergency situations. So make sure that you're providing and that you're storing away food for yourself. I'll make sure that I post a video up here where I talk about preparing food stores so that you can get on the ball with that if you haven't started that yet. With your canned food items, I also want to recommend a manual can opener. Don't get caught in a situation where there's no electricity and you can't open the cans that you have. These two cans, neither one of them are pop tops, right? So I need a can opener. I do have a manual can opener that I can use in the event of an emergency. Actually, we use it every day, but our can opener is manual, so we don't have to rely on a machine that uses electricity to open the food in case of emergency. Don't sleep on these freeze-dried food options or MREs that aren't freeze-dried but just water-added kinds. They are a little bit more expensive, but they'll be really helpful for you if you want to have a small stash. You can get full meals. This one is biscuits and gravy. We don't have a major supply of these, but we have a handful of them because we use them when we go camping, and they're also helpful if you need a quick meal with protein and the power is out, but you do have water. The next thing you want to make sure you're preparing for is having enough water for yourself and your family. FEMA recommends that you have enough water on hand for a 2-week supply for your entire family. 1 gallon of water per person per day. You do the math for what that means. Get what you can get stored away in a cool, dark place. Get yourself a radio. This is an AM/FM radio. It's a very simple design. It is a hand crank radio, and it's also it also has space for solar power to charge it. This radio is very useful in the event of an emergency. You can plug in and you can receive information about what's happening. I would also recommend, if you're able to get it, a NOAA radio, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration radio, that's going to give you access to those frequencies so you can hear what's going on if everything goes down. But at the very least, you want a radio that is not reliant upon electricity coming through the outlets. This radio has been useful for my family. When we were in the Snowmageddon of 21 in Texas, we used this radio. It helped us very well. You'll notice that it also has a flashlight. Like I said, it's hand crank. And it has solar power. I've talked about power sources in other videos, but I want to emphasize getting yourself a portable power station like a Jackery or a gas or solar powered generator. Those are excellent items to have in the event that there's an emergency and the power goes out and you don't have a source of power. You want to have shelter and warmth. And that might sound odd if you already live in a home. You might be thinking, what does that even mean? But what I'm referring to are things like sleeping bags, wool blankets, like a military surplus wool blanket, a tent. Those kinds of things provide extra warmth for you in the event that the power goes out, or in the event that you don't have any kind of shelter if you're out of doors and you need something to stay warm. If the power goes out and a home is cold, you can set up a tent and make a microclimate for yourself and your family, where you bring in your sleeping bags and your blankets, you dress warmly, and you get inside of the tent. It might sound like an odd thing, but absolutely you can use a tent as a shelter inside of a home that is cold. So you want to make sure to have things that provide shelter and warmth. During the storm in Texas, I swore by the little hand warmers that you could just put in your hand and hold them. You just open them up and they're oxygen activated. You shake them and then you keep them on anywhere on your body or in your hands or in your shoes, and they keep you warm for hours at a time. The hand warmers come in packs like this, and they're not just for your hands. You can put them anywhere on your body. Often they have a sticky side so that you can adhere them, but even if they don't, you can just place them in your socks or hold them in your hands or put them in your pockets, and they're a really good way to keep yourself warm. I recommend having a flashlight. It might seem like a no-brainer, but we don't always think about having those kinds of things prepped and ready, right? Don't have the batteries just sitting in it, but have batteries nearby so you can put them in if you need them. A headlamp is a great tool to have. It's another type of flashlight that will help you see in the dark if you don't have electricity and there are no lights. A headlamp, a flashlight on a radio or otherwise will be a great tool for you to have. You should also have a first aid kit. Now, this is a very small, basic first aid kit, but we do have a bigger one, and I recommend that you have a bigger one as well that has things like bandages, right? Basic wipes, alcohol wipes. I even keep things like cough medicine, allergy medicine, painkillers, so that you have things in case people get sick or there's an emergency and you can't get out to the store. Make sure that you have a first aid kit that's equipped with all of the things that you would need as basic emergency supplies. I'm a big believer in continuing to stock up on N95 masks and KN95 masks. Of course, we remember the season of having to have them regularly on hand. Right now, people don't seem to be as eager to buy them, so it's a good time to get them now. You can order them online very inexpensively and have them in your supplies, because we don't know what's coming. There may be another major health concern. There may just be things going on that they would be helpful to have them. But I honestly believe that even during cold and flu season, it's helpful to wear them. If you work in an environment where there are a lot of people, or if you're flying or traveling, it's a great way to keep yourself from getting sick. I also do think we're going to be seeing some more health concerns coming up. And so I think it's really important to have a supply of masks for yourself and your family. I want to recommend some kind of water purification system for yourself and your family. My family has bought a set of personal water filters. I also think that water purification tablets are necessary, because water filters can get rid of certain things like bacteria, but they won't get rid of viruses. So you want to get tablets as well to purify water. If you have access to fire, remember that you need to boil your water for at least a minute at a rapid rolling boil. If you're in higher elevations, increase that time to like 3 minutes. But even that, I think, is, even in under those circumstances, it's still a good idea to have water purification tablets so that you can make sure that everything that may be harmful is killed. The last thing that I want to mention, and I don't even know if I'm past 10 now, but I want to make sure to mention personal hygiene items and a way to make sure that you can remove waste safely. So we have a bucket and a toilet seat lid, and we have bags for waste in the event that we don't have a toilet and we need to get rid of waste. We also have cat litter to put in that bag to make sure that it's absorbing waste materials, and then we can tie it up and set it to the side. You may want to have a different system, but I highly recommend having a way to ensure that you can remove waste safely. You also want to have things like wipes and hand sanitizer to keep as clean as possible in situations like that, and to be able to wash your body or wipe your body down if you don't have a lot of water. To use the limited amount of water that you have with wipes is helpful, and to also make sure that you're using them if you're having to use a bucket for toileting needs. So ultimately, I do think that it's very likely that there will be some infrastructure disruptions in the coming months. That might be things like communication, like internet, like water, electricity, maybe even food supply. I just don't want anybody to be caught off guard. I think it's a really, really good idea to prepare yourself in advance for this kind of an emergency so that you're not caught out needing something or needing to rely upon others to get you the resources that you need, and basically fighting with others over limited resources. You don't want to be in that situation. Remember that Daniel prepared. He was given dreams, he knew what was coming, and he prepared in the 7 years of abundance for the 7 lean years that were coming. So this may not be part of your faith tradition, and if it isn't, that's okay. I still think it's wise, while you have time, to prepare for upcoming situations where there will be difficulty and challenges. I appreciate you all so much. I'm so thankful for you and for this community that we're building here. I want to get your feedback. I want to hear your thoughts. Please let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to talk about in the future. Please let me know your thoughts about this video. And also, what do you think about the upcoming season? Is it something that you're looking at with a bit more concern? Are you paying attention? Or do you think that, there's really not a big deal and things are just moving along as normal? I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to get your feedback. Please remember to comment and subscribe if you haven't yet. And please give me a thumbs up for this video. I appreciate you all, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.